Hey guys, it's MJ, the student actuary, and today I want to ask, what is a chief risk officer? And if you know anything about corporate structure and all that type of stuff, you'll know that it's headed up by the CEO, which is your chief executive officer. He's your big boss, and he has a whole bunch of other chiefs with him. That's the chief information officer, the chief marketing officer, the chief financial officer, and the chief operational officer. And what you'll normally have is the CFO would be like an accountant, the CMO would be someone with marketing, CIO would be a computer guy, and COO could be an engineer or any really smart person. And they're like the advisors to the CEO. They all, tell him what to, not what to do, but they give him advice on certain things, and then the CEO makes his decision, and they control different branches and stuff. Now, the CRO, or Chief Risk Officer, kind of joins in at that level. So he becomes an advisor to the CEO, and whereas the COO would give advice on operations, and the other will give advice on finance or marketing or information technology, the CRO gives the big boss advice regarding risk. So let's look at what is the definition for the Chief Risk Officer. And James Lum, who's written an entire textbook on enterprise risk management, says the following. The CRO is responsible for risk policy, capital management, risk analytics, and reporting. He also heads the risk management at the business units. So this is the guy who's going to be overseeing risk, and it's very important for this position to be established so that risk can be managed holistically like this instead of individually by a whole bunch of separate people who do not interact with each other. So let's talk more about the CRO, Chief Risk Officer. He is a leader. So he's a leader of risk. He understands what all the risks are in the business. And because he understands all of the risk, he can create a risk report, which will therefore use the same type of measurement for all of the risks, because before you'll have different measurements for marketing risk, different measurements for credit risk, and it's all horribly confusing. And that makes another role of his is that he will therefore communicate risk in a much better way. And because he's got such a great understanding of risk, he'll be able to allocate economical capital. Oh, that sounded very weird. But yeah, he can allocate capital into the areas of the business that need it in order to absorb risk. But his main job is basically to establish his main job is to establish enterprise risk management in the business and make sure that everyone plays along to this new type of stuff regarding risk and management and doing it holistically. So in order to be a CRO, if you think you've got what it takes to be a CRO, these are the 5 things that you need. You need to be a leader. So this is for someone who can rally people behind him. And the whole idea is that it's taking the actuarial profession out of the back office and sitting him next to the CEO and giving him some advice. So he really needs to be a leader. He's going to have a whole team of people depending on him, and it's quite a big corporate position. But he's also going to need what we call evangelical skills. He's going to need to convert people to believe in his holistic risk approach, because this is a new way to do business, and people are going to, people resent change. So there is going to be some, some fighting or people not willing to go on board straight away. So the CRO has to convince everyone to adopt the same risk culture as the business. He must be a stewardship of finance and reputation. So he must look at protecting not only the bank balance of a company, but what other people also think about the company and its place in society. He or she must also have technical skills, and this can be developed by studying actuarial science or any other type of risk degree. but actuarial science really does position you very nicely to have all the technical skills required for this job. And then finally, you need to be a good consultant. You need to be able to come up with these awesome ideas, explain them to someone in a way that they understand, and then be able to implement them through processes and business activities. Now, the CRO is probably going to have a little bit of a tussle, a little bit of a fight maybe with the CFO when it comes to what business activities to do. So the CFO is going to be telling the CEO, oh, we should do X business activities because we're going to make so much money and we can afford, these are the expenses, this is how much it's going to make, this is a good way to go. Whereas the CRO might say, yes, but that's going to be taking on too large a risk. We don't have the risk appetite for that. We should rather do this, or we should rather put our capital into a buffer here. So there's going to be a little bit of a tussle between the CFO and the CRO. Hopefully it's not. I mean, the CFO is normally an accountant, and an accountant's worst enemy is the actuary. There's that whole, no, they're best friends. They're not enemies, they're best friends. They both study finance and they both think they know the best. That's why there is that tension between them. But if they are in a ring and they're having a little bit of a tussle, don't have to worry. The CEO is kind of like the umpire who makes the final decision on who to go with. And I mean, if we have to extend this boxing analogy further, you could say that the board of directors are the judges, and they're watching these three guys in the ring, and they're going to be hopefully happy with their performance, or they're going to replace them. But yeah, that is the Chief Risk Officer. It's perfect for someone who likes actuarial science, but wants to also climb the corporate ladder and become a capital powerhouse in the business world. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm going to be making a whole lot more on enterprise risk management and risk and the various activities that a Chief Risk Officer would do. So click subscribe, and I'll see you next time for the next video. Thanks guys. Cheers.